Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Real Thoughts with Bob Benham. I am your host, Bob Benham. Thanks for checking in. I really do appreciate it. And I do know it has been a while since my last podcast. Um, can't say anything good has been going on. As you can see, I'm kind of wearing this little thing. I got a sling on and I got a nice little patch right here. And I had a little device called a pacemaker put in. And to say that I was expecting it would be to say that I was lying because I did not expect that. Um, Unfortunately, I, my heart rate was getting slower and slower, and I was starting to have episodes where I was just dropping out, and which is not good. And so I made an appointment with my cardiologist, and I thought I was falling asleep. But I didn't really know that my heart rate was dropping that low. And so I went to my cardiologist and said, "Hey, what's the deal here?" And my cardiologist said, "I think you're passing out. I don't think you're falling asleep. I think you're just passing out." And so they set me up an appointment with an physiological cardiologist, which deals with the basically the electrical signal going to the heart back and forth to make, for your heart rate. And he was like, uh, I went to the VA for my cardiologist, and they have to refer you outside the VA if there's not one available within the VA that you're going to. And the one I go to didn't have that type of cardiologist. That's the type of specialist. They sent me to the community for community care. And this was on a Wednesday. I saw my cardiologist. She placed the referral that Wednesday. Um, Thursday, community care called me and said, who do I prefer to see? And I told them I'd already seen this cardiologist before because I was having um, other heart arrhythmia issues. And so I'd like to see him again since he's familiar with my case. And they were like, no problem. We can do that. And so they sent him the records of what had been going on. And on Friday morning, he calls me and says, "I want you in my office." And I'm like, "Okay." And he says, "But I don't want you driving here." And I went, "Oh, well, how am I supposed to get there if I can't drive there?" And he goes, "Get your wife to drive you." And I'm like, "Well, my wife's working. There ain't no way I can get there with her working." And of course, I'm having to chase her down and see if she can get time off to come get me to take me up there. And so finally, I was able to, and we got up there about 3 o'clock that afternoon. It's a Friday afternoon, and you know how doctors' offices are. They want out of there early on Fridays. They don't want to be there. And so I get up there, and he's looking at the data and looking at the EKG and looking at all kinds of stuff. And he goes, "Can I take a look at your phone?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem," because I wear uh, a um, Apple Watch and stuff like that, which records my heart rhythm, heartbeat, all that stuff. And he takes a look at the history on my phone, and he's like, this has been going on for a little while. And I'm like, well, yeah, a little bit, a couple months or so. And he goes, why haven't you come in prior to now? I said, well, I didn't really think it was something serious. And he goes, it's very serious. He says, you should have been in here months ago. And I'm like, okay. And he says, we're putting in a pacemaker on Monday, because this was Friday. And I'm like, Monday? He goes, yes, Monday. And I'm going, oh, okay. He says, your heart rate's down in the low 40s, upper 30s. He says, you're passing out when you're dropping out. He says your heart rate's way too low. He said, your normal heart rate's in this between 60 and 100. He says, this is ridiculous. And he says, and it's staying that low. He says, you're normally between 40 and 50. He says, that's just way too low. And I was like, well, okay. So, yeah. Needless to say, Monday I was in surgery getting a pacemaker. So I had to stay overnight in the hospital and all that, and was released Tuesday, and here we are Wednesday, and now I've got that in, and it's now I can tell there's a difference. I mean, a little bit of a difference in uh, how I feel anyway. I mean, I feel like I got a little bit more energy. I don't feel as tired as I did. Um, uh, but it's right now, this is sore right now, right through here. And um, anytime I have surgery, for some reason, for a couple days, I just feel real groggy and just tired. I don't know why. Every time I've had surgery, that's how I've felt. I mean, I've had surgery. I think this is my 12th surgery I've had in my lifetime, and I hate having surgery. But anyway, uh, so we're still here, and we've got this to kind of keep the heart doing what it's supposed to be doing. It detects when my heart rate starts slowing down, and tells it to get back into rhythm like it's supposed to. So we got that going. Um, Unfortunately, I can't use my left arm for the next 4 weeks, and guess what? I'm left-handed, so that kind of puts things in a crunch. Um, I can't, by not being able to use my left hand and my left arm, that really puts me down, because uh, I am so used to. I mean, just everything I do is with my left hand and left arm. So uh, I'm kind of just like, what do I do? I can't. I mean, I'm not used to doing anything right-handed. Uh, and plus, my right hand and right side is still somewhat affected from the stroke I had back in 2002. That's my weak side, and it's the side that was affected by my stroke, and I still have some issues from that. So it's like, yeah, this is fun. Uh, but oh well, what do you do, right? You got to fight through it. You got to keep going. You can't stop. I mean, what are you going to do if you stop? Yeah, it's like giving up. And this man right here does not know the word give up, and does not know the word quit. Um, and all I know how to do is fight through every day, fight through every moment, and just keep on going. Um, when President Trump had that assassination attempt, and the first thing he did was he stood up and shouted fight and then fight, fight, fight. Um, he did exactly as I would have done, because that's just me. Um, I don't. I'm just not one to be down. That's just not me. So um, that's where I am, and that's why I'm here. And so we're continuing to fight. Um, anyway, with that, we're still got some other health stuff going on, but um, right now that was the big one that we had to take care of, and at least um, I know the old ticker is okay now for a while. Um, and at least um, we know that that's the good thing, and that is the good thing. Um, and I will live. I can live with that. I mean, it was scary to get that news. You know, you're sitting there and we're putting in a pacemaker first thing Monday, and I'm like, oh, huh. And, that was kind of a shocker, but um, I can't say I didn't expect it was going to happen at some point, considering the heart arrhythmia issues I've had in the past. Um, I didn't know, that it was going to be, um, you know, at my young age. I mean, being 60 years old, for crying out loud, I didn't think I was going to have all this junk. I mean, I've got more implants in my body than I care to think about. But what are you going to do? And all I can do is say, live with it and go, and just play on. So um, here we are, and we're playing on, and we're going to just keep giving it hell and keep doing what we need to do. And I am not quitting. And I won't quit this fight that I'm in with uh, keeping our nation free, um, and keeping it, you know, keeping this it from being taken over like it's they're doing right now with the Islamists, the democratic socialists, communists. Um, I ain't letting it happen. Even with all this crap going on with my health, like I said before, I could be on my deathbed and I will still fight. I mean, it cannot happen in this nation because there is nowhere else to go on this planet that you're going to have the freedom that you have here. There's just nowhere else to go. And there's nowhere that has the freedoms and all that is protected by the Constitution like we have. We have the strongest Constitution on earth. And it was written that way with purpose And it was written that way to make sure it would last for a long time. Sadly, we have right now, we have a bunch of idiots, morons, and whatever else you want to call them, that are really smooth talking their way into bringing in communism. And you can call it whatever you want, democratic socialist, socialism, blah, 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 whatever they're wanting to say it, progressivism. They're trying to make it sound like it's the next best thing. It's the way we need to go with our country because all the rich people, all the billionaires, blah, blah, blah. The billionaires have got everything and all the working people have nothing. People, the billionaires pay all the taxes that this country runs on. It's not us. We pay such a minuscule amount of taxes that helps this country run. I mean, there's a middle class and on down. It's like 3% of the tax base. The millionaires and billionaires pay the majority of the taxes in this country to keep things going. So to say they don't pay their fair share is a bunch of bullshit. And this for them to keep saying it over and over and over again, all it is propaganda and lies, just like everything else that comes out of their mouths. It is ridiculous how our country and those that are gullible to this crap. I mean, I have never seen such a bunch of wussies and people that are so weak-minded that they will believe the one-liners that these morons say and go and say, "Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth." Unreal. Unfreaking real that they believe this stuff and they just spew it right back out. All it is a talking point. It is nothing more than that. And when they get confronted on it, they can't back it up. They have nothing to back it up with. No facts, nothing. And it's totally amazing to me that they are so oblivious to it all. And they're just moronic and idiotic about it all. I mean, that's all you can call it. And I really, really feel bad for this nation because we've dumbed down our education so bad. And I saw this coming when I was in school. And when I went through school, grade school in the 70s. And I saw it coming back then because we had a program. I remember this in Cleveland. They would send they would have this they had this program where they mixed all the schools for 1 week, and it went throughout the school year, so it wasn't like all the schools were together. They had, certain schools this week, there's certain schools this week, but it was city schools, Catholic schools, private schools, um, and they had a certain group, each week. And I wish I can remember the center we had. It was called what the center was called, but every week we went to this, for a week, we went to this center, and um, it was for all of the kids to get together, and um, to learn about each other, to um, understand um, each other's culture, because it was a mix. It was, you had your inner city kids, you had your um, not so none. There were no suburban kids. It was all from the city. So you had your outlier kids, you had your inner city kids, and all there. It was all that was a mix. So you had everybody was, you had to understand all all of it. So all of us were mixed together for a week. So when you were there, it was um, what they were teaching us. Those of us that were in the Catholic schools, we were just like, we were so far ahead. We couldn't believe what we were already taught all that stuff. We knew it already. We couldn't understand why they were bringing it up now and just now teaching it to these kids that were there. And we're like, well, we already know this. Why are we having to be taught it again? And the kids that, from the city schools they were going, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. And we're like, we already know it. It doesn't make sense that we're having to be here for this. And there was some things that were just like we had learned like a couple years before, and it it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But here we were going through this stuff, and that was then that I'd realized how they were dumbing down public education, and they were dumbing it down because instead of trying to force the inner city kids to learn what everybody else was learning, they were dumbing it down to the point where everybody had to be dumbed down and slowed down to what the inner city kids could comprehend, instead of forcing them to raise themselves up. They were bringing everybody else down to them. And it just didn't make sense to us. Why not, just keep teaching all this stuff and keeping it up and not doing the opposite? And it was one of those things that we were just sitting there going, "Wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense that they're doing it like this. It shouldn't be done like this." But that's the way it was done. And over the years, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And as evidenced by what's how things are now. I mean, you look at the United States in terms of where we rank in the world education wise, and we're way back there. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, we're in the 40s now in nations in education, and we used to be top three. Um, that's not acceptable at all. I mean, you look around. I mean, we have a shortage of doctors and all that in this country, and you look at most of the doctors in this country right now, they're not American. They're from some other country. We can't get qualified and smart enough American kids to even make it to medical school. They don't have the education to make it into medical school. And that's pretty sad. That tells you that tells you a lot right there. And it's starting to and it's starting to make its way into law school and all that stuff too. I mean, when you look at the lawyers and all these really complicated type professions where you have to know and have to have a lot of knowledge on a particular I'm talking a wide range of subjects because you have to remember a lot of material. So when it comes to like doctors, lawyers, stuff like that, these kids today cannot remember it, cannot focus on remembering it because all they know is video games, short-term memory. They can't take the time to study to remember that stuff. We didn't have video games when I was a kid. I take that back. I mean, we did have them because we started to have them when I was became a teenager, and we started having Atari and Odyssey and um, all that started coming around. And but it was you had that. Oh, the games were so um, simple and um, just. Uh, I mean, they weren't very anything like what they are today. I mean, just nothing like they are today. Um, these games that are out here today just are just. I mean, insane. Um, I mean, I play the NHL game um, on a regular basis, and to watch these players that are in the game and the skating and the goal scoring and watch the goalies in the game and all that. I mean, I know they had actual players wearing the sensors to make them make the moves, and it is insane to watch them how they did, make it's just crazy because they look so realistic. It looks like that. I mean, it looks like an actual human doing these moves. It's crazy. Um, anyway, they just need they need to go back to square one with education. And now they're starting to take the cell phones away out of the classrooms, which is a plus. That's getting things started into the right direction, but it's a far, far cry from what really needs to happen because they need to clean house with these teachers and get rid of the teachers' unions and all that stuff because they've ruined education. The teachers' unions and all that, they have completely ruined education. There's just no way for they should have absolutely no say in anything as far as how kids should be educated. The only thing the union should be there for is negotiating wages and benefits. Nothing else. Nothing else. Not how a kid is educated, not how a lesson plan is made, none of that stuff. Strictly how the child is educated or how they get their wages, vacation time, benefits, not how a kid is educated. That's hands off. Not even the materials that are presented in class. You have no right to dictate that. It should be parents. They should have a commission of parents that sit down and say, okay, this is the stuff that needs to be taught in school. And they should sit there and go, here's American history, here's world history, here's social studies, here's chemistry, here's biology, here's uh, homemaking, here's just the basics of living and how to live. These kids get out of school and they don't have a clue to what the real world is. None of them. You see all these man on the street reporters that do these interviews, and all of them, all of them, when they do that, the 90% of the what they come up with, these people have no idea what they're talking about. They can't answer simple questions. When was the country founded? 16 something. Are you kidding? Oh, 1920. What? You are that damn dumb? When was World War II fought? Oh, that was in 1970. Oh, please. You're that stupid to embarrass yourself and answering that like that? Oh, I would have rather said, I don't know. I couldn't have given an answer that was just a guess, but they're not afraid to do that. They'd rather embarrass themselves than say, I don't know. Myself personally, I'd rather say, I don't know. Give me my phone. I'll Google it. I mean, it is just insane. I mean, that's I would rather take the time and look it up. And I there's a lot of things that even if I don't know, and I do look it up on the internet, and I do look, like go to Google or something like that. I don't I won't go to the very first thing that pops up. Um, I generally will scroll through, and I will find a government website, or I will not use a college website, not at all. Um, I will try to find um, either a museum or something along those lines to find the answer, because colleges today have an agenda to push, and it is the wrong agenda. It is based on lies, mischaracterizations. um, and um, I just I know that because I have seen and read the truth and facts from being at the places they talk about where they lie about. It's like about the whole slave trade. I've been to Charleston, South Carolina. That was the place where where the trade was the biggest, where they came in and had the slave trade. You went down there to buy the slaves, and the way they were treated. Yes, that slavery is bad. It is absolutely 100% bad. I don't condone it. There's no way. It is something that, I mean, it's wrong, period. Okay. But I'm here to tell you the way the story is told today is 100% wrong. The way they want you to feel about how the slaves were treated is 100% wrong. Were some of them treated bad? Yes. But it was a very small minority of slaves that were treated badly. You have to remember, they were they were bought at very high prices at a time I mean, just extraordinarily high prices. So these owners would just would not treat them badly. Because if they did, that slave would be down for a period of time if they beat them really bad, or if they ended up killing them, that was money lost. And they couldn't afford that. And that was a lot of money lost. So these slave owners, they did not treat them as bad as they want you to believe. They couldn't. They couldn't afford it. That's the truth. And it's insane that they can't admit that. It's insane that they can't admit that African tribes sold other African tribes into slavery. The stronger African tribes would go in and take these weaker tribes and sell them into slavery. It wasn't the white people going into the jungles and grabbing these people up. No way, they would have been killed. It's this whole narrative that has been made up regarding slavery. And they want you to think that that slavery only applied to black people that came to America, that were brought to America. And that is so wrong because white people were slaves, Asian people were slaves, Chinese people are slaves still. Africans are still slaves to this day. Middle Eastern, they're still slaves today. You have warring Islamic tribes that take each other slaves because this Islamic tribe doesn't believe in Muhammad the way this other Islamic tribe does. So they take each other and fight each other, and then they take the one that conquers takes the other one as slaves. It's been going on for centuries, ever since man has become on this earth. It's not like this is new. It is continuing today. It hasn't been stopped. And this whole idea of reparations, what in the hell is that about? And this 1619 project and all the lies about that. And, you know, they play on the emotions of people so well. and they always have. And that's all they've got. That's all they've got. They just want to play on your emotions. They want to make you feel bad about something that happened 160 years ago, 165 years ago, where a war was fought over that particular deal, where there were over 600,000 men and women killed over that particular deal. And you want reparations for it? I'm sorry, but that debt was paid in full. 600,000 plus lives were given to end slavery. We don't owe you a damn thing. That debt was paid in full. Take that one to the bank. This whole ridiculous deal that's going on, it is crazy. I mean, we have to tell what really happened. We have to tell the truth. I am so tired of just all these lies that are being said because everyone is afraid to tell the truth. Everyone. And there's no reason for it. Absolutely no reason for it. I'm not pushing an agenda. I don't have an agenda to push. I know that today, blacks today, they're still living on welfare system that was created back in 1964, 65, and they've had what, 7, 8 generations on welfare? It wasn't created for that. It was created to help you get on your feet so you could get a job. It wasn't created for you to live off the government. If you have 8 generations of blacks living on welfare, there's your reparations. Now get a job. It's time for you to pay back and start paying into the system instead of milking the system. This stuff is just ridiculous. When you look at the statistics, there are less people paying taxes into the system than there are not paying taxes into the system. There are less people pulling the buggy than there are riding in it. And when that happens, the system's failing. And it's all because the people are like, why should I work for it? I can just get it for free. It's not free, people. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. It is being paid for somewhere by someone. Nothing is free. Nothing. I loved it when they were talking about, oh, we can go to free healthcare like Canada has. Canada does not have free healthcare. Far from it. If you feel like you want to pay 60 cents of every dollar that you earn to the government for your health care, go right ahead. Because that's what they pay. 60 cents of every dollar. And then you're going to wait a year, 2 years, 5 years for whatever health care you think you need. You're not going to have it right away. You're not going to go to the doctor and say, hey, I need, the doctor says, well, you need to have this procedure. Oh, you're going to be on a waiting list for 3 to 4 or 5 years before you get it. It might be a life-saving procedure, but you're going to wait that long before you get it because it's rationed health care. That's what they have. Oh, but it's free. Okay. You may have an aortic aneurysm, but you may wait 3 years before you get that thing fixed. But don't worry, hey, it could explode in that time and you die. Then they don't have to worry about paying for it to be fixed. Money saved. People, you don't understand anything. You don't understand it. That's why I'm saying you're idiots and you're morons. When you talk out your asses the way you do, especially all you blue haired, yellow haired, green haired morons that stand outside and protest every damn thing that's going on, I'm sorry, but you have no clue to anything. You just don't have a clue to anything. You need to get your heads out of your ass, start reading, and I mean read real stuff, not this crap that's from CNN, MS Now, uh, ABC, CBS, uh, NBC, whatever that all the garbage that's out there, because they have an agenda. They have an agenda. They're there to help the democratic socialists. I've been following the democratic socialists for a long time. I've had them bookmarked on my computer for a long time. And I actually have them. I have them in my on my computer in the bookmarks as as terrorist organizations. Them and so I mean, I can't tell you how many groups because that's exactly what they are. They want to destroy the United States of America. Just listen to what's being said on TV, what they want to do. Oh, they want to do away with the Senate. They want to do away with the presidency. They want to do away with the Supreme Court, and they want to, or if they do have them, they want them to be underneath Congress, not equal branches of government. Well, there's a reason they're co-equal branches of government because there's separation of powers, checks and balances. That's why we're a republic. If you have Congress in charge of everything, guess what? That's an oligarchy. That's communism. That's what Russia had. That's what Cuba had. That's what China has. That's what North Korea has. That's what Venezuela had. Read your history. All of that stuff has been tried and failed. And it's definitely not going to work here because too many people here value their freedom. And there's too many people here that own guns and will fight for their freedom. And with that, please take care of yourselves. Watch out for one another. There's a lot of evil happening in this country right now with these democratic socialists, with all these Muslims being, I can't believe I'm saying they're being elected to government positions, but they are winning elections. And we kept saying, remember 9/11? And we had 19 of those bastards fly planes into the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and we had brave Americans take down that plane in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where those terrorists were headed to Washington, D.C. And now we said, at that time, we said, never forget. And now look what we're doing. We're letting them win here to take over. And I am not letting them take over because they are not compatible with this nation and they want to take over. That's all they want. They don't want to assimilate or any of that. They want to take over, plain and simple. And that message needs to get out to everyone. We cannot let them take over. We cannot let them take over. Please take care of yourselves. Watch out for one another. God bless you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. This has been Real Thoughts with Bob Benham. I am your host, Bob Benham. And until next time, God bless you. God bless these United States of America. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye bye.